What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Whap Down Entertainment. I'm Tino, and today I am joined by Chris, one of the players of this game.
Hello.
And as you can see here on the left side, Chris playing a Shadow Rider, and Jake is playing a Greninja V-Union, paired up with Suicune as well. And here we go already. The game is starting. Jake is starting out with a Suicune, not bad. And Chris, what do you have here?
Well, I was able to start two Shadow Riders. Normally, for me, for this kind of deck, I would definitely love to try to get to 3 on turn 1, simply because obviously being able to Underworld Door 3 times on that next turn is very crucial if you can get the energies out fast enough, because it's not until around like 6 energies that Shadow Rider actually feels like it's hitting for good enough numbers. Anything lower than that, you just feel like you're behind.
Yeah.
So I believe on this first turn, Jake, unfortunately, I think for some reason has to switch. Or no, that was a game 1.
Yeah, this is game 2 already. So
yeah,
you won the first one actually here, so this might be the deciding one. Either way, Jake he's putting down his Minchinos already. He is playing a 4/4 line Minchinos Chinchino, which is interesting compared to your deck. You're not playing any of those.
Well, unlike in my deck, because like Underworld Door with the ability to draw 2 cards, kind of is doing the same thing that his Minchinos are doing.
Pretty much, but better.
And I would say better. Yeah, definitely better on my side, because that's the sole reason I have to run the Articuno, our Galarian Articunos, because whilst I get the draw, I don't have the discard power that he has with the Minchinos. So I mean, in order to get rid of the V-Unions for Mewtwo, I had to play the Galarian Articuno. So that way I didn't have to rely heavily on like Professor's research with that nifty Professor Oak research there in the corner.
That fancy one. I already saw you just put it down there as well. So there is a Articuno on the bench already, which is nice. So you have that down already. I believe you discarded, there we go, two cards already, I think.
Well, actually, that was a misplay. The Familiar Bell puts it in your hand, but I put it in the discard. But next turn, I believe next turn I discard it. So,
however, that's not bad having those there already. I think Jake didn't put any in his discard yet.
No,
did he?
No, I don't think,
He's showing the big card already.
Yeah. I don't think he has any in his discard. I wasn't looking too.
I also don't see any in his hand right now either.
No.
So
I can remember if he Burnets.
Oh, I mean, he has 2 Burnet as well. Like, you're only playing 1. He's playing 2, which is interesting. And I think on his hand, I see he has energies. He has 2 Chinchinos even to evolve those 2, which is nice. And a research as well. So, like, his turn is going to be really good, I think.
He's going to be able to fly through this next.
And here we go. Even top decked one as well. There is the energy, and now the research.
Well, that's one thing about Jake is Jake is always very well prepared for pretty much every turn. You cannot discredit Jake at any point in time during a match because he will make a play that no one saw coming and no one is prepared for at any moment at any time. So whenever I play him, I always make sure that like I take everything into account, because if not, he will catch you slipping really quickly. And so it was this turn he caught like 2 pieces of the V-Union already, so those Minchinos definitely come in handy for him.
Yep, that was a very good research, I'd say, a very good one.
Yeah.
So I think he's really well set up. He also has a Melony on hand, which is nice. He has an Air Balloon to retreat. This is not bad, and he just can go ahead and attack here. With how many? We have a total of 6 Pokemon on bench, so
I believe
120 damage there.
140.
Oh wait, 140. Sorry, 140.
Because he has a base 20.
Exactly. Nice. That's some good damage to get on there as well already. Like that's pretty good. And
that was another thing I had to account for with playing him, is because I knew for sure he would never get past 80 damage on his bench, because he was always, unless he was pressured, he would always save that last space just in case he needed to put the V-Union out. So I tried to, for the most part, early game, until I could start swinging really hard, try to keep my bench as little as possible to not help out at Suicunes. And here I had to switch.
What is happening here on board?
So I have a small problem where, like, as you can see, when Jake did his research, he presented all the cards out, draw, and then put them into the discard. I normally just throw it all into the discard because I'm like, I'm discarding it all. There's nothing to hide for me because, like, you can look at my discard. But Jake wants to always see him, like, right then, right there.
Yeah, so. I mean, he needs to see that stuff to know what he's doing next.
Yeah, so he was like trying to take the discard before I even drew. I believe here I was making the decision originally to attach to the benched Shadow Rider VMAX.
Yeah.
But I already came to the conclusion that I think I wasn't going to get enough energy, or even if I in turn to really hit that Suicune hard enough. Yeah. So I didn't want to push it up, take too many hits, and then give up a 3-pricer. So I believe I opted to just go ahead and attach to the Articuno with 2 Underworld Doors and a regular, and try to confuse him and hope that he wasn't going to have the switch options to get out of it. So that way he would have to consider before attacking. But, you know, the gods of luck were on Jake's side, and I believe he instantly, I don't think he top stacks it, but I think he gets off of Minccino. He gets like a switch in an Air Balloon, and he just
I think he has
goes right back to it.
Air Balloon even on his hand already for a longer time now. He also has a very big hand as well. I think it's a very big one.
Yeah, and that was another thing too. It's just like I knew that Marnie was going to be very important in these matchups because both of us are going to get really huge hands, and both of us are really not going to want a Marnie because it's obviously to your advantage to have.
Jake even doesn't play a Marnie at all. Well, you're playing 3, I think, right?
Yes, I play 3 in my. He has 0 Marnies in his deck too.
He has a Burnet on his hand though, so I'm thinking that might be a play he's trying to go for next turn.
Oh, well, yeah, he definitely has the 2-piece, so you only need 2 more.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember if this turn was when he had 1 prize and he needed to fish 1 out of the prizes or not.
He does play 1 Peonia, so there's that option. He just doesn't have that in hand yet, but that's definitely an option. So that's very interesting as well. Like, he is playing with a Peonia strat, 2 Burnet, while on the other hand, you're just playing with 1 Burnet and no Peonia, just hoping they're not prized.
I think he went with 2 because in my deck I go with the familiar Bell strat. Right. So that way I can use the Familiar Bell, so I don't have to waste like a supporter that turn if I already have one, and then I can just ditch the cards with Galarian Articuno. Whereas he's running 2 because I mean it's an insurance policy. I feel like running more than 1 Burnet, it's just like you got obviously a double chances to get it now versus just having that 1 singular card. And if one's prized, you still have the option to potentially run into the other one. But with his deck, I see the need, and then I don't see the need for 2. The discard probabilities are really high with his Minccino's already anyways. So
I guess he's just trying to make sure that he's always having an option to get stuff in the discard. If it's gonna be one of those 4 Cincinos or the 2 Burnets or in another way even. So I guess that's what he's going for here as well. Ooh, and look at this hand right now. Well, it's his turn. I think he is going with the... Oh, is that a Melanie he put up there?
I believe so. I think
maybe.
I think he discarded real quick.
Oh yeah, that was the Cinccino.
First Minccino, and then the second one.
The second one, see?
We're both.
There's another Burnet, so he has 2 now on hands.
So
a little bit overkill.
A little bit on this hand for sure. See, so I did not get an optimal turn 2.
Yeah.
Because I was only able to evolve 2, and you could still see. I now have. Oh yeah, I still only have 2 of the Shadow Riders evolved, whereas 3 is really kind of like the golden number. Having 3 of them pretty much allows you, like, every turn you're guaranteed to get one of them pretty much ready to go full power, and then you can attach, like, you know, just 1 spare energy somewhere else, and so that's 4 energies in a turn, which increases your attack power by 120 pretty much every turn if you're just consistently attaching. So, like, the attack power ramps up fairly quickly, which is, I guess, one of the really nice things about Shadow Rider, but it's all dependent on if you get those cards out. And
yeah,
normally for the first game 2 and game 3, I didn't have an issue, but this game, it was just not happening. And he was kind of able to set up the situation like we discussed beforehand, where he really just kind of wants to put hits on things. So that way, when he benches the Greninja, he can just swing with the Shuriken, which puts 100 on everything on the bench.
On everything.
And then kind of put me on a clock where I have to make, I have to make a crazy play in order to come back, which the real only play I had, which we will see that I do not get to, is to get the Mewtwo out myself. But I believe during that turn where I had no choice but to try to go for it, I just couldn't get to it. So it is what it is in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, as you saw here, Jake he played the Melanie out actually and attached an energy as well. So 2 energy on that bench, so we can switched out with the Air Balloon, not losing any energy there, and then just went for the attack on that.
And it was a pretty smart play too. I knew that was his only option. I was just really hoping that he wasn't going to be able to pull. But like I said, when we're playing hands this size, like
he had a giant hand there.
There's just no way that I could do. So like once again, like I said, like our options were the Marnies to kind of just mitigate how large his hand was getting, because like no matter how big it is, like for me, I'm always going to want to be attaching energy, so my hand size will grow exponentially every turn anyways. So really it's just to put him back down to a smaller hand size, which I know sounds ridiculous because he's just going to discard 2 cards and gain 4 more. So it is what it is, but still, I couldn't let him just keep building a hand over and over and over every turn.
Either way, right now it kind of looks like you're really attaching a lot of energies here, which is nice, because
once got that third Shadow Rider on.
Yeah, once the whole thing's set up, I mean, there's nothing you can do against Shadow Rider. So let's see how far you're getting here though before Jay can do anything. I'm kind of sad that we don't see the V-Unions yet in play. Both players still need to discard the last remaining pieces as well.
Well, one thing I can say from having experience playing with the deck is that it's always going to be one of 2 things when it comes to these V-Unions. So either A, you're going to get ridiculously lucky at the start and just manage to get all 4 pieces within like a turn or 2 into the discard, and then start, building up and going for, the big attacks. Or there's just always going to be that one piece that just doesn't seem to want to cooperate. It's either stuck in the prizes, you don't have a Peony to get it out, or because that's prize 2. There's always seems to be and those situations seems to happen more often than not. And that's just one of the things that I think all of us as players, when we were looking at these cards, we were all discussing that like the Union really is gonna succeed definitely more in expanded versus standard, because they're
absolutely.
There's not enough good options to really make sure that you can always get those pieces in and out into the discard. Because I mean, Battle Compressor alone is it makes playing V-Union almost like it's a no-brainer. Like at that point, it's so good to get them out. So like that's the only real issue. Is just like it's always going to be one of those 2 options. It's like you're going to get everything out early, or it's going to take you forever.
That's true. And as you can see here, Jake just did the thing and discarded his remaining V-Unions. So what he's gonna do here is really interesting, I think. So he's playing a Capacious Bucket as well for 1 energy. I'm not sure why just 1 here, but he just has a giant hand.
Yeah, I think
this might be the reason.
I think in reality he just he knew he could get 1 back off Training Court.
Yeah,
and he already had 1 in hand, and then he
can
more.
Just use Frostmoth as well. So here we go with a big card as well, which I guess is the best option. Not sure if that's going to be tournament legal, but I hope so. that would really be helpful.
It would definitely make things a lot easier.
Absolutely.
For sure. Just people got to remember to remove the 4 cards from the bench when they do that, so that way they don't artificially have a bigger bench than they actually technically do.
But now with 3 energies on that V-Union, Jake really has a lot of options. He could go for the Twister Shuriken, right? The 100 damage to each of the Pokemon. benched.
And I believe that's what he just did, actually, too.
Yeah. Or he could have gone for something else as well. It's so many options you have with this
Well,
card.
the secondary attack, I believe, locks the active in
yes, so it can't retreat 180 damage, and you just can't retreat.
Yeah,
which would have been an option here as well, but instead, I think that makes more sense as well, going with Twister Shuriken.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. As Twister Shuriken it technically puts me on a clock, because like now my only option now, and he knows this because like the ability, because like I was saying, he was just taking damage on everything, and he knows like if I just Twister Shuriken and knock out like twice in a row, it's going to knock out enough prizes for him to win. So realistically, the only option I have here on this turn, and I was well aware of it going into it, but I mean, to be honest, at this point, I saw the writing on the walls, because even if I get the Mewtwo up at this point, I final burn, but I'm still a prize card short, and all Jake has to do at this point is just literally drag up anything, basically, and he's pretty much going to lock himself into the game, because everything just had so much damage on it. So, I mean...
Yeah, it seems like everything is kind of a one-shot at this point. I mean, he's down to 4 prize cards as well. He just needs two more Vs, for example, and those VMAXs on the bench have a lot of damage, especially the one there.
Yeah, so I actually, and I believe it was Tate who was co-casting with her. Yeah, so Tate and Shelby were watching, and the whole time they were commenting about how like I needed to get the V-Union, but like I saw pretty clearly I wasn't, so and they didn't see the option that I played right now, which I came to the conclusion that like the Twister Shuriken only hits the bench. So if I pushed the V-Union with the most amount of damage forward, I would only lose the Crobat. So that meant that Jake had to boss next turn, which, I mean, is not difficult. I believe he ran 3, and I've only seen him discard, like, I think 1 or 2. So I was just gambling on the fact that he didn't have it. But that gamble does not pay off, and he top stacks it. He top stacks it, and he had the other one in hand. So
this is just, I mean, he once again had a giant hand that he always had a giant hand during this whole game, just because of the Chinchinos, and that way he just took the win there. Well, what a nice game. Well played by both players here. Thank you for casting with me, and hope you all enjoyed this video. For deck lists, check out the description. And if you want to catch the stream live, we stream bi-weekly on the Frosted Caribou YouTube channel.